Hi, everybody. Welcome to Voices on Radio Zindagi 92.3 FM. And we are back this week with another big issue that we're going to speak about with our guests here with us on the show. We're going to talk about the Indian caste system in America and what is going on with this issue. We are on 92.3 FM HD2, and we are also on Radio Zindagi Facebook page for live streaming there. So please feel free to call us if you have any comments or you want to ask a question from the guests. We are at 510-657-1170. And going ahead with this, India's caste system is probably amongst the world's oldest form of social stratifications. The system divides people into rigid hierarchical groups based on their karma or dharma, which is work and, of course, religion. But it means duty here, of course. So whatever your work is, whatever your duty is, you divide it into several groups, hierarchical groups with certain groups are top and certain groups are at the bottom. Now, despite the obstacles, some low-class caste Indians such as B.R. Ambedkar, who authored the Indian Constitution, and K.R. Narayanan, who became the nation's first Dalit president, have risen to hold prestigious positions in the country. But new research shows us that hard boundaries were set by the British colonial rulers in India. Caste is not officially recognized by law in the United States. It has come into limelight due to certain recent incidents of personal prejudice and forced labor. The caste discrimination has followed the immigrants in US coming from India, Nepal, and other South Asian countries. Historically, dominant castes have used caste privilege to gain citizenship in America. But studies have also shown that only 1.5% of all Indian immigrants to the United States are Dalit. In 2016, a study found that more than 90% of Indian immigrants came from high or dominant castes. In contrast, in India, only 4% identified themselves as Brahmin and 26% as general category, which means 70% of the population is from non-dominant caste. A survey of caste discrimination faced by South Asian Americans in the United States revealed that 67% of Indian Dalits living in the United States admitted to facing caste-based harassment at the workplace, and 25% reported having faced verbal or physical assault based on their caste. This study was conducted by Equity Labs. We have with us two guests today. We have Yashika Dutt, who is a leading anti-caste expert. She's a journalist and award-winning author of non-fiction memoir, Coming Out as Dalit. Coming Out as Dalit, Dutt's first book has been lauded both critically and embraced by readers. It was recently awarded the Sahitya Akademi Yuva Puraskar 2020, the India's National Academy of Letters Young Writers Award, among the country's highest literary honors. A meticulously reported memoir that presents a scathing and intimate account of how the caste system brutally affects the lower castes in India today. Yashika Dutt is an emerging figure recognized for highlighting Dalit rights globally, and she's here with us on the show today. We also have with us Anil Wagde, who's an Ambedkarite. He was recommended to us by the Ambedkar Institute, who is responsible for a lot of anti-caste advocacy in America. He's an anti-caste activist working to eradicate caste and socio-economic development of the downtrodden. He's a postgraduate from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and IIM Calcutta. He's an active member of Ambedkar International Center, USA. He was the forefront of filing the amicus brief in California court on behalf of AIC, and that was the Cisco case, and we will talk more about it with him. Well, based on the fact, let's start with the Cisco case. In 2020, a caste-based discrimination lawsuit was filed by the state of California against Cisco Systems. It was the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing that filed the case. And Anil, you filed the amicus brief of the case. So tell us more about what is going on here.
Sure. Thank you for inviting. Jai Bhim, everyone. So the Cisco caste case, in Cisco caste case, two upper caste men discriminated against a scheduled caste subordinate, denied good projects and promotions, therefore any opportunity towards promotion. He followed up with the Cisco HR, but HR took a stand that the caste is not included in the discrimination policy. Finally, this person, named called John Doe for remaining anonymous, this person approached California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing. Thanks to the department, they understood the nature of discrimination and went to the court. DFEH, using the existing structure of law, since caste is not recognized as a discriminatory criteria here in US, explained to the court that the discrimination is based on descent, since caste is based on birth, and the national origin. Since the caste is practiced in the Indian subcontinent, those are the two grounds primarily under the law that caste discrimination is covered. Professor Kevin Brown of Indiana University has argued that caste system and the Supreme Court's teaching in Bostock versus Clayton County is a type of racial discrimination, religious discrimination, and a national origin discrimination. All are covered under Title VII. The California court had refused the Cisco's argument for arbitration between Cisco and the accuser, having given enough time for Cisco to act and Cisco having refused to act, and had ordered the identity of the discriminated person should not be revealed because of the stigma that it attached if the person's name is revealed. So it had ordered his name not to be revealed. These decisions are pending review with the appellate court. Ambedkar International Center, like you mentioned, had filed an amicus brief explaining how the caste discrimination is real, how it operates, how it denies the opportunities to people from deprived caste, how people are beneficiary of the affirmative action like John Doe are looked down upon for benefiting from the affirmative action which originates from the caste. The scheduled caste people are given the affirmative action. So that's the current state. Currently, it is under review by the appellate court on those two decisions, whether Cisco be allowed the arbitration further with the employee and the name should be revealed.
Well, that's interesting. But coming to, of course, we swung the entire discussion open with this big discriminatory case, because whatever the outcome of this case would have a very big impact on everything else that you and Yashika both dedicated a lot of your time to. Yashika, what is the situation?
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, I'm really glad that this issue is now finally getting the attention it deserves. And I just want to add a little bit to what Anil mentioned earlier in the case. So this issue of discrimination on the basis of one's caste, especially within the Indian American communities, within the South Asian diaspora in general, this is not a new issue. This is something that Dalits have experienced for a long time. In fact, an article came out in a New York-based local magazine last year where they spoke to a family who lived in Queens, who had faced discrimination, who had their window shattered at the peak of the 9/11 Islamophobic anti-South Asian rhetoric. And they assumed that was because they were brown, they were South Asian, whereas they found out that it was because they were Dalit. They had a chut, which means untouchable, scrawled on their car with keys. Somebody had scrawled a chut on their car in 2001 back then. So this is an issue that has persisted within our communities, unfortunately, and now it is finally getting the attention it deserves because of the bravery of this one person, being John Doe, who was a Dalit engineer, who refused to take the discrimination that has been given to us for ages. The conversations around affirmative action, which back in India and Indian communities, and especially I want to focus on India because this is an Indian-based case, an Indian American community-based case. Reservation has been an issue that we've all had to suffer from. We are all told that we don't have merit, that we don't deserve to be in positions of, whether in academia, whether in tech, whatever jobs that we have, we are told that we don't deserve to be there because we avail affirmative action. And if you read the lawsuit very carefully, Meera, you'll realize that that's what John Doe had faced. they had first tried to investigate that person's caste. And when they found out that that person had availed reservation through some alumni networks back in India, so this is to show that this is not just a local problem. The issues are interconnected between India and the United States. They found out through an alumni network that this person availed reservation/affirmative action, therefore was a scheduled caste person, which is the category name for Dalit people, which is the category name for lower caste people, and then started discriminating against this person. So this is how intricate or invisible the network is, but its effects are so persistent and dangerous. And what happens with Dalits is that as Dalit people, we not only have to undergo this discrimination, we have to explain to people that it exists, which is a uniquely American issue. In India, at least, people are aware of caste. In the US, most non-South Asians think that caste is an ancient relic. So first we have to explain our discrimination, engage with the issue, spend our emotional labor, and then at the same time also undergo that discrimination. So this is working on many levels, which is why this Cisco case is a welcome intervention, in my opinion. It has now brought the highlight to this much needed issue. Yeah.
So